this is the thing where you say things just to bring attention to yourself.
No.
I had a friend of ours who said, who's been listening to the show, and this is someone in the radio business, and they said to me, Dave reminds me of Billy where he does get the ire of the callers, but he comes in way too large, and sometimes he's way too obvious. And Earl is radio poison, what this person said to me.
So that's someone in the business that has said, even though Dave is so over the top,
right,
he's still much better for the radio show than Earl. Another 19-year-old girl has come forward saying she's been having an affair with Mets catcher Paul LaDuca. This one from Philly, and she guesses, I guess he has one in every city.
The only part of this story that makes me sick is somebody from Philly fucking a Met. That is just against everything I believe in.
So here is
some little girl from Kensington down on her knees sucking a Met ball sack is just wrong.
Here is a picture of the latest Paul LaDuca 19-year-old. He had one on Long Island that came out. This is the one from Philly.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, but she's not as good as the other two, I don't think.
She's good enough. Believe me, in Philly, this is fucking Bridget Bardot.
He met her while she was working as a teller in an off-track betting parlor.
Sure.
That's not going to help out the fact that the Mets are investigating him for gambling.
And you're allowed to go to the track. You're not allowed to gamble on baseball. You're allowed to play cards. You're allowed to bet races.
And he owns a couple of horses, too.
That's a very slippery slope.
But this is even legalized gambling. Never mind even in the illegal
yes,
stuff.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't. Michael Jordan was banned, or was heavily fined from the NBA because of gambling in Vegas.
Bullshit. No,
that is not true.
No, that is not true.
Ronnie, he was investigated by Stern.
He was investigated. Nothing ever came about that, though. And it wasn't about gambling in Vegas. It had to do with he being known to be with known bookies playing golf, losing money to them. But he never, no file.
Yeah, he never. There was never any criminal charges, any league fines.
No, I know there wasn't criminal charges, but I thought there was definitely a slap on the wrist.
No league stuff
by the David Stern office.
He took a break from the sport, went and played baseball.
Well, what does that mean? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Get out of the league before we charge you.
But if it's going to be wink, wink, nudge, nudge, then that never happened. So you are allowed to go to Vegas, obviously.
Yes.
You are allowed to gamble on other things. You can't gamble on your sport. You can't stop people from doing legal things.
But they hugely frown on that, and that can get you in trouble with your team. I'm not even saying the league or the Hall of Fame can put you out, but that your team can suspend you if they so choose.
Here's Tom. Tom, you're on Run Fez.
How you doing?
Yeah.
I'm going to say that you honestly believe that Jordan isn't gambling. They just whacked his dad on the side of the road on a coincidence, somebody looking for a couple bucks from his wallet.
Yes.
I mean, there's no doubt. Well, he took a break. He's one of the worst fucking baseball players in the league. He decided to go play baseball. He was told.
First of all, you are allowed to gamble. They caught the people who killed his father. It was a couple of 19-year-olds. Guys in Vegas, that if you owed them millions of dollars, the last thing they're going to do is hit someone's dad and take fucking $68 out of a wallet. It's crazy talk, Tom. It's insane crazy talk.
Where there's smoke, there's fire.
It's not true. The guy is allowed to gamble. He makes $50 million a year now that he's been out of the game this long.
It just seemed very suspect that he would take a break from the game he absolutely worshipped. And he came back 2 years later anyway.
Right.
It just seemed like there was, hey, maybe Michael was betting on some of the NBA games too. Maybe he was betting on...
you got to have proof to say that kind of stuff.
I don't have
if
proof.
Not, well, you'll have a fucking sewing circle, and we'll give up on the whole United States thing.
I'll look into it.
Why don't you do that? Well, tomorrow you do a report on whether or not he gambled on basketball. Because I've never heard it accused before. I know the guy gambled on golf. I know he gambled on hundreds of thousands of dollars on golf, but why wouldn't he? He's worth millions.
Well, if he's gambling on football, he's gambling on golf, he's gambling on
football?
cards. Oh, he was
I never said that.
They weren't even concerned on the amount of money he was winning and losing. They were more concerned about the people he was associating with, and that was it. But once they found out that there was no real connection there, they let it drop.
Why'd he leave the NBA? Why?
I have no idea.
Right.
Maybe
exactly.
he thought he had done all he could do in the NBA. As he's leaving with rings and trophies.
Well, he did come back and win, what, 3 more, though?
3 more.
Yeah.
Bill, you're on Run of Fez.
What's up, buddies?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, when Dave's in the studio talking about sports, it's absolutely awful. I mean, he knows absolutely nothing. Dave, why would David Stern push Jordan out of the league at the height of his popularity? Surprisingly, the league goes down the shitter 2 years later, by the way, with him out. If something was going to come out, it would have come out. It's honestly the most ridiculous conspiracy theory. Just because you play JV baseball doesn't make you a fucking expert on sports.
And basketball. And the answer to your question is that David Stern didn't want this information to come out about Jordan while in the league.
Jordan's, let me explain something. Jordan had all the pressure in the world on him. He was the biggest star we had, bar none. I mean, there wasn't even a number 2 at that time. His dad gets murdered. That had to freak him out. Maybe he just needed a little time away from it all.
Well,
and being a jock, being an athlete, he thought to himself, I always wanted to take a shot at playing pro ball.
I know. Again, it just seems like too many coincidences. Too many. Michael?
He dug baseball. He took a shot at baseball. If you had a shot right now to go see how well you could play baseball, why wouldn't you do it? I think you would, right?
Yeah, if someone promised me a spot on a minor league team, sure.
And that's what he had.
Yeah, the man was in the prime of his life. He had done everything you can possibly do in the NBA. He won a Rookie of the Year.
He just lost his dad, and he and his dad's big connection was baseball.
And he had the money and the time, and he took the shot.
Here's Dave. Dave, you're on Run of Fez.
Yeah, if you guys ever watch HBO Sports, he'll tell you Michael's on record to say that his first love was baseball, not basketball. And in '94, when he played baseball, he was close to getting called up to the majors when the strike happened. Yes, he was.
You know what? I had the opportunity to watch him play in Florida, and he was never going to be a big league ball player. He didn't have the fucking swing.
He was like Dave Winfield
But, I mean, you would be at a minor league game, and the electricity, because he was playing, there would be packed, people hanging out of trees, helicopters going over. I mean, it was amazing. It was like the circus came to town.
If Jordan was playing Parcheesi, there'd be electricity surrounding him, though.
So what's your point?
My point is, it's all too convenient.
You haven't made any sense. If you would, then I would back you up. Hey, Mark, you're on Run of Fez.
Hey, buddies.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave, let me ask you a question. Is your father still alive?
Yeah.
Okay. Mine isn't, and it's when your father passes away, especially his son. That's a life-changing experience. You have you're not going to believe how profound that is on some people. I think you're going way too far with this. It's like.
Well, it's looking for trouble where there isn't, and the league looked into it.
Right. Well, all I'm saying is the league was looking into him with the game. I'm not even talking about the father, all right? I'm just talking about the league looking into Jordan with his gambling, and then he retires instantly like that. That's what I'm saying, is that is very strange.
You let on that his dad got whacked.
I'm implying that there's a possibility that happened.
Why would that happen?
He owed some people some money.
The dad or Michael?
Do you know how much money Michael Jordan has?
Millions, I guess, but I mean...
Hundreds of millions. You don't run into money problems over gambling like that.
He didn't pay fast enough. He maybe didn't...
You know how many ball players, Barkley has talked about how many millions he's lost? A lot of athletes bet really big because they have the money to bet really big.
Yeah, and then more often than not, they pay it off. And very rarely do you have, unless it was like a Pete Rose or something.
When you're doing this, you're dealing with casinos. It's not a big problem. They're not going to come kill someone's dad.
John Daly just said not too long ago, I think he lost like $50 or $60 million gambling.
Julie, you're on Run of Fez.
Dave, you know nothing about sports. I swear to God.
Don Mattingly hit 352 in 1986.
That's just a fact. That means nothing.
Let me ask you something. His father got shot in the face. Does that give him the right to take a little break from sports?
can do
Okay,
whatever
he
he
went to
wants.
play
America, I
baseball
don't care.
because as much as you know about Michael Jordan, you stupid redheaded douchebag, he loved baseball. That was his love.
He was real great
He
at it, though,
wanted-
Sally.
He wanted to try it. Okay, you stupid know-nothing.
And he
the
took
only-
a spot from a minor league guy who's been playing his whole
So
life.
what?
I
So
care
what?
about
What's
that
the
guy
big-
busting his ass.
No, you
And-
don't. You're just trying to do that thing.
Now you're just nitpicking because
Right.
you're jealous.
No,
To get you- no,
No, I
you're
am.
trying to find a spot for yourself, and it's wrong.
Have you ever played sports?
Yes.
10th grade, he played JV ball.
Oh, he played JV ball. Oh, so you're the expert now? What sports did Michael Jordan gamble on, Dave, since you know
Golf
so much?
and cards.
No,
and possibly
he
football.
gambled in Vegas, which is legal, by the way, retard, and he bet on golf. He
I just
lost
said that.
all of his money on golf, you stupid retard.
Turn up your hearing aid.
No, stop it.
And let me tell you something else. They would never force him out of the game that he brought notoriety to.
All right, thank you very much, Julie.
You're welcome.
No,
Bye,
yeah.
douchebag.
All right, bye-bye. He turned that game around. And it hasn't been back since that point. Basketball's not in the same position it was without Michael Jordan.
I agree with that.
And when he went to play baseball, the big question was, why are you doing this? He goes, and the first question was, he goes, I love baseball, my father and I. It's more of an honor of my father. We watched baseball. We grew up on baseball. And he also said, I'm not afraid of failing.
Remember, it was the Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders
era.
kind of decade when everybody was giving that a shot. It was very exciting. When you love to compete, why wouldn't you?
I know what he said in the media. I'm just saying, it doesn't seem... I mean, he obviously still had a burning fire to play basketball. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come back.
No, sometimes you get a burning fire after taking some time off. I've taken time off from jobs and come back to them.
Well, look.
Why does he have to be thrown out of the game? Why is that the only reason that you can like Michael Jordan? As if he was thrown out of the game. Well, that's the only way you can accept him.
I don't even know what that means.
No, I know he's the greatest player of all time. I simply think that he was forced out.
And David Stern is not an idiot. He knew. You honestly think he would suspend the goose that's laying the golden eggs? The NBA was never bigger than when he was playing. You think he would throw him out for a year? What was it, 2 years or a year, and lose? I mean, because when the years he was out, the league tubed. They completely tubed. And then after he retired,
But it would be worse of a gamble if it happened during his playing time. So Stern might have said to Jordan,
You got to have some proof. Here's what you got to have. You got to have some proof.
I will dig
Tomorrow, come in here with a report.
I will dig into it very, very hard.
Good.
And it can't include baby dinosaurs.
Well, I don't want to take that away from him. If there is a connection between the two,
good.
Go ahead and grab it.
And that's the last point on that.
All right, you want to do your report?
Yes.
What kind of music do you need?
Earl?
No, I thought we were using NBA music.
Okay.
Do it.
Well, yesterday I was talking about Michael Jordan and that I definitely believe he retired, or he was forced to retire from the NBA. And you said do a report on him.
I thought this was the report.
I totally thought he had started.
This is called Michael Jordan, The Air Seems Dirty. Okay. This is serious, too. Michael Jordan, the man, the myth. He is a sports legend in our time. Some may call him a genius, and that someone is me. I recognize Michael Jordan as the greatest basketball player of our time, and certainly the best athlete for the past 27 years. I also recognize that like many geniuses before him, athletes or not, he is suspect to demons, and that demons starts with a capital G, gambling. In 1993, Michael Jordan retired from the NBA. Or did he? The answer is he did not. Michael Jordan was forced to retire from the NBA. By the time when Michael was in college, he would bet college teammates sodas on who would make more free throws. By the time he was a pro, that couldn't solve Michael's crave. Sodas weren't good anymore, so Michael needed the stakes. Here are the facts. 1991, Jordan lost $50,000 to James Buller, a convicted cocaine dealer. When authorities questioned Buller where he got the money from...
Where's the comedy with this?
This is an essay. I'm trying to... Okay. And here's the facts. Out of the blue, Jordan decides to announce his retirement. following the tragic shooting of his father, Jordan claimed he wanted to get away from the game. He says, quote, "The biggest positive that I have is that my father was here to see my last basketball game," end quote. Must meant a lot to you, Michael, because you were back in 2 years. Must meant a real lot to you, unless you're deceiving the American public. That's what he did. He's not the king, he's the king of deceit. 5 years down the line, Jordan went on to say, when he was asked by a reporter if he'll ever come back, 5 years down the line, if the urge comes back, if the Bulls will have me back, and if David Stern lets me back, I will come back. Why would David Stern have to let Michael Jordan back? That's the pivotal phrase. He wouldn't have to let him back if he wasn't banned from the NBA. That ends the conspiracy. The point is he was kicked out.
Joe, you're on Run of Fez.
What's up, buddies?
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, just want to ask Douchey Dave if Jordan was the best in the past 27 years, who was the best 28 years ago? Ramon, give this boy a douche with seltzer.
Muhammad Ali. This is a very legitimate point by my calculations.
Best basketball player?
Best athlete. I said Michael's the best athlete in the past 27 years. If you went back to 28 years, Muhammad Ali was still in his prime. That's where I got that number from. I just didn't pick it out of the blue. Right.
You think Muhammad Ali was in his prime in the late 70s, losing to the Spinks?
He won. I think he won over Norton in 78. Right?
No, not Norton. It was Spinks that he had to win back from.
Yeah, he beat Spinks in 78.
After losing to Spinks.
So 78.
Have you ever seen that late fight in 78 with him?
I didn't see that.
It was a fucking travesty. You would have fucking cried.
No, I
saw the man hanging on too long.
I saw him with Larry Holmes. That was just very, very bad fight for him.
Right.
So that's why I had Jordan there, because by that time Jordan was in college anyway.
Jordan was in college in 78.
No, but 1980 or so. Something like that, you know. It's not definitive.
You're not going to rip off Earl anymore and try to do his report thing. Earl did one that was a hit. You did one the day after, miss. Now, I noticed, like, if Earl does a song and puts some drops on, the next day, Dave does the same thing. Do you know who does that when they hear someone do something so they repeat it?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy Jen. That's where your fucking head is right now.
I was told to do a report. I think. Someone. I didn't just get out thin air. Someone said to me, do a report.
When do we do anything on the show that's not has somewhat of a comedic tinge?
That's a good point. I thought The Air Seems Dirty, my title, was somewhat comedic.
Not even close.
His nickname is The Air, and he was up to funny business with the gambling, so The Air Seems Dirty is kind of... There's something in there.
No, maybe you got me there. So is there any more? You're all done?
I can give you another paragraph.
Yeah, go ahead.
So ends the great conspiracy. Ouch! Fuck! Ah!
Ron Bennington, Fez Watley, The Ron and Fez Show. XM 202.